Money. We all love it. We all need it. Responsible money management is one of the most important things you can learn as a young adult. Financial literacy should be a mandated course in order to graduate high school with a diploma. Everyone should be concerned to know that there is no blanket requirement for high schools to educate our youth on money management or anything to do with finance. I had to learn the hard way. I essentially ruined my credit at 19, 20 years old and spent the next 8, 9 years trying to repair it, and it's still not perfect. We're working on it. The lack of financial literacy among high school graduates that are either going to college or to the workforce is a huge problem. State mandated classes are the solution. The solution is an education. Let's talk about kids going to college. Without a formal education, they have to rely on educating themselves using the internet, or asking their parents for advice, or seeking guidance from their friends, it's not a great solution. They're taking out 10 to 20, 50, $100,000 in loans without being formally educated if what kind of loans do they need? Why are they taking them out? What can they use them for? Without someone to teach them that, then they're just lost. In April this year, the New York Times put out an article authored by Ann Carnes stating that only 21 states in America have some sort of mandate on financial education in high school students. The leading advocate for these sorts of classes, the Council for Economic Education, put out their annual report showing that of these 21 classes, only 6 require a separate and one full semester course about personal finance. That means 15% of the states, or roughly 13% of the graduating class for America, is going to be formally educated and have the tools they need to succeed financially heading into their adult life. Let's talk about young adults going into the workforce. Many kids, or young adults I should say, transition straight into the workforce right after high school. I did initially. Let's imagine a scenario where we have a high school graduate, we'll call him Steve. Steve lands a great job with a good company right out of high school. He's going to get paid well and everything's going swell. Let's say Baker Hughes. And so Steve goes to work at this job, but he hasn't been educated on what he should do with all this newfound money. It's the most money he ever had in his pocket. He doesn't end up saving it or investing it or acquiring anything worth equity. And when he gets laid off 9 months down the road, all he has to show for it is a $400 truck note. And he has to move back in with his parents because he can't afford rent because of a $400 truck note and insurance. And he can't get rid of it anymore because we're in a recession. But he doesn't know any of these things because he hasn't been educated properly. The Bureau of Labor and Statistics, also in April of this year, had a press release revealing that 66.2% of high school graduates are seeking a formal higher education, and the other 33.8% are going to transition perceivably into the workforce or some sort of work. The individuals that wish to become independent and establish themselves in society have to understand how to manage their finances properly, or they might wind up like Steve with nothing after 9 months of work. And now that college has already started, he's going to be a year behind everyone else if he wants to go back, if he can get a scholarship at this point. Don't be Steve. And don't let your kids be Steve, or your nephews and nieces. This is a problem we can fix. We must have state-mandated financial education in every high school across America. And part of that curriculum has to cover personal finance. That's learning how to do your taxes, learning what interest rates are, let's say 20 years worth of interest rates, because we may be teaching students what interest is, but it's hard to imagine what 20 years on a mortgage looks like in interest or APR. The Consumer Finance Protection Bureau in April of 2019, and that's a government agency that essentially protects our best interests, the consumer, our best financial interests. But they said, and I quote, well implemented, state mandated financial education leads to clear improvement in financial behaviors. We have government agencies on our side. They understand what we need, but we just need to get the states now to comply and start working toward higher education with the finances in our youth. To sum it all up, we need financial literacy for every high school graduate, whether they're going to college, whether they're going to work. And the solution is through mandating courses in our education system before high school students graduate. A brighter future for our youth is a brighter future for our country. We just need to give them the tools to succeed. Thank you. Oh, sorry about that. I almost forgot my outline. There we go.